Everything's not fine in East Palestine, Ohio, after government makes the train derailment situation even worse. The neglect by the government and everyone else who could have helped but didn't in one of the worst environmentalist catastrophes of our time is a symptom of something far more sinister than incompetence. And it has to do with how our ruling class has created a political structure like that of a monarchy. And they see themselves as aristocrats in a weird Brave New World type society where the rich and powerful elites rule everything. And they live their lives of luxury and expect all the rest of us peasants to spend our every waking moment doing things to make sure that their lives remain luxurious. And in the end, their arrogance will become so routine that they will reveal their incompetence because they no longer care what you think, just like in this situation in Ohio. And that will be the ultimate cause of their downfall. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So is it just me, or is it weird that the leftists who scream and shout about climate change all the time and about our environment and about corporate pollution and all that have remained silent throughout the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio? I mean, where are the left-wing social justice warriors and the propagandists holding signs? Where the hell is Al Gore and the how dare you girl? How dare you? Does it seem to you like all those people are on an email list and they all got the order to stay silent? Just like they all get the order to go out and act nuts when something happens that they can't take the blame for? Did you know that there were a couple of train derailments, I believe yesterday? There was one in South Carolina and another in Texas. Now, the derailment in Texas, from what they're telling us, is said to be that a truck crashed into the train and caused the derailment. So with all that going on, how come Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is doing absolutely nothing about it but giving platitudes? And instead he's talking to groups of people about racism in construction jobs. I don't know if you know this, but the movie White Noise was released recently by Netflix, and it's about a train derailment with chemicals being spilled into the air, and it takes place in the exact same spot in East Palestine. In fact, some of the real people who lived there played extras in the movie. Am I the only one who thinks that's really weird? So unless you've been living in a cave for the past 2 years, then you've noticed, like me, that we've had all kinds of problems going on in this country, like the supply chain, like a lot of flight delays at airports being completely shut down for a day. Remember all the food processing plants that either caught fire or suddenly exploded in the middle of the night, right? So if you're like me, you're wondering, what the hell is going on here? I think the problem that we're having right now is that the people who are running the country are a bunch of incompetents in the positions that they're in. And they got their positions, especially in the administration, not because of any expertise they would have for that job, but as a kind of political payback because of who they were and what they did to help the party get to where they were. I mean, think of Pete Buttigieg as a perfect example. The man couldn't even fix potholes in bumfuck South Bend, Indiana, and yet he's now the head of everything transportation in the country. I think what's going on today is that the elites are actually implementing the Great Reset. If you think about it, Klaus Schwab's Great Reset, and don't say it doesn't exist because he wrote a book about it and he called it The Great Reset. It's kind of like a Brave New World situation where the rich and powerful live in a life of luxury and the rest of us peasants have to make sure that their lives are luxurious, okay? And that's what they're doing. Think about this. Politicians get elected to represent the people who got them elected, right? Well, if you're like me, you noticed years ago that politicians stopped listening to you and your concerns. I mean, every 2 and 4 years, they may come out of the woodwork and say, what do you think? And they really don't give a shit, right? I mean, think about it, especially the Democrats. They a long time ago became an elitist party. I mean, right now they're a coastal elite. Everybody in the middle, they don't give a rat's ass about unless they can get their votes, right? But politicians really, except for a select few, they stopped listening to the people. And what these people have done is they've created a top-down structure so that they are in charge and that you are not. And they want you to know that. They have gone off the 50-year script of trying to cover up what they're doing. Now they don't care. I mean, when you don't have to worry about losing your next election for reasons that we're not allowed to talk about on this platform, I mean, they no longer care to listen to you. I mean, you were just a means to get them into this position, and they feel that they're never going to lose their power again, and that's a problem. So what we're living through right now is you have the academic elites, and they're pairing up with the billionaire elites and the misinformation fake news media elites and the political elites, okay? And they're all forming a group together, and they are going to create this top-down world that we're talking about. And they're going to rule. They want to create an entire new society based on an economic model that favors them and no one else. This is why Klaus Schwab says you will own nothing, but you will be happy. So now you have all these people who are supposed to be representing you. They no longer represent you. Now they all want to rule you. So folks, we have two political choices that are forming right now, and it's not stoppable, okay? You have the civic nationalism and you have the ethno-nationalism. Well, people say, well, why did these two things form? Well, because of what these ruling elites are doing. I mean, the civic nationalism and the ethno-nationalism is a backlash to what the elites are doing, and they're not listening to you. I mean, when people work very hard and they support people who are supposed to represent them, but then those people stop representing them and want to rule them, well, the Bubba effect takes place, and then they just say, fuck that, and they create their own way. So the two ways that are coming out is ethno-nationalism, where they want to balkanize a society based on people getting together of the same ethnicity, the same race, and then civic nationalism, which would be like your Trumpers, your Georgia Maloneys, your Victor Orbans, the people that say, look, you can be whatever you want to be in society. You can retain your ethnicity, but you should identify yourself by the love of your country. The thing is, what the ruling elites forgot about America is that there are many more of us than there are of them. And the only way that you lose to people like this is if you agree that you have lost. See, that's why Marxists and fascists, they never win if you don't give up. And Americans don't give up. But see, there is something good that's happening out of all of this, because they've been doing it for so long now that they're exposing themselves for the incompetence that they are. And the more they expose themselves for what they're doing and how they think of you, the more people are going to resist. And it's going to be the beach ball effect, that the government is trying to push the ball underwater. You're the ball, okay? And there's a resistance there. The ball keeps coming up, and you have to keep applying pressure in order to keep the ball under. But eventually, you're going to lose, because the pressure is always going to push up, and you're going to run out of strength eventually. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Okay, so that's it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for spending time with us. We'll see you in the next one.